The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, J.M., and Paul G. Comrade.
Are we having Morgan for an encore?
We'll have him on briefly. Give us an update.
Yeah, let's. I think you have as much chance as winning that primary not being on the ballot that he does being on the ballot, but give him a fair shake.
Well, he's willing to come on and he's willing to take.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I think I'll try to hone in on what are the issues, because you and I aren't going to vote for him. We're voting. We let's be honest with ourselves. But the people voting in the Democratic primary in March. Here in Lake Forest and the rest of the 10th district. Why should they vote for him instead of Brad Schneider? I mean, I don't know if Susan Garrett's going to be on the show this week, but she's obviously a Democrat. I'd like to see her perspective on it. Would she stick with Schneider or is she going to go with this new guy? I'm going to bet she's sticking with Schneider, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong on other things around here, so.
Well, they're courting these socialists to get the young kids. I think you're the political guy.
Well, they're courting. Yeah, sure. They're courting the socialists. They're courting the young kids. I mean, but both parties do that, Pete. They court the base and they court the younger voters.
Yeah, but younger voters.
The Republican Party's younger voters are not socialists, but there's.
Well, the younger voters today, I believe, are conservative compared to when we.
Well, look, when we were growing up in the 80s, it was the Reagan yuppie. What was that Michael J. Fox character on Family Ties? That was us. That was the kids of the Reagan generation, right? I mean, so but. The kids today and on the Republican side are all wearing the red MAGA hats. And on the Democratic side, they're all protesting ICE and doing all that stuff. So meanwhile, you and I just sit on our lounge chairs and watch football.
Oh, like the voters of Lake Forest, the proud 8%.
Shame that, Like I said, vote shaming is never an effective strategy. I'm just going to tell you, free advice.
Oh yeah, really? Tell me
Yeah. Hey, now here's a question. I don't want to berate the whole absentee remote voting issue again, but let's say you did whatever turnout number you think it should be, whatever percentage it should be, 25%, 50%,
Well, hold
whatever
on. I
you
put up a
have in that.
slide. Hold on,
You've
hold on.
got that slide and we don't see the slides during the show like the viewers do, but that's fine.
Well, you did see the slide, so is it
I
right or
saw it
wrong?
after, yes. So, but whatever that number is, take whatever number you want. You're not going to be able to fit all those people into Gorton one day for a few hours. So you're going to have some other method of people voting. If you truly want an engaged citizenry and want as many people as possible and have the engagement that you and I both agree should happen, it's physically impossible to do that at Gorton Center, even if you did it all day on a Saturday. I mean, you'd have to have the police, you'd have to shut down Western Avenue and Deer Path to direct traffic. So, I mean, that's that's a consideration you have to have in that.
Yeah, but 8%.
Yeah, 8% was too low. I agree. I totally agree. But
You
I'm
haven't
not going to
told-
shame people.
Well, you didn't tell me what it should be. I
Start with
did.
what
I told
I
you it
think
should be a third. You didn't say it's
Okay, a
right
third.
or
A
wrong.
third is fine. Let's go for a
Okay.
third.
All right.
Yeah, let's go for a third. But you ain't going to fit a third of the people in Gorton Center in one day. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Okay. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Morning, guys. How are you?
Hi. Well, look at you. Are you like in an Uber right now downtown? Oh, I see. Is that the Wrigley building back there?
I got the
Who's the
township
hot
supervisor.
chick?
Oh,
Yes, driving me around.
definitely the better half there.
That's
Yeah,
a hot Uber driver.
Yeah.
Or in
Just
your
leaving
case,
down-
Lyft.
Yeah, we just left downtown, so we're leaving.
Okay. Well, of course, we're talking about your favorite topic, politics, and
Yeah. Why not? I mean, that's great for business. Yeah,
well,
8%. That's good. 8%. That's a solid number, Pete. I'm good with it.
I'm the proud 8%. Talk about a silent minority.
Jeff would love to have every single person that voted at Gorton that day buy food and drink from his establishment. He'd be doing pretty well for the week, right?
I mean, yeah, Lake Forest. What? How many residents do we have? 25,000.
Yeah, but the voter count, I forget
16.
the voter count.
16.
16,000.
So even if you got it up to like 25%, you can't fit all those people at Gorton. There's no way.
Hold on, chicken or the egg, dude?
Fair point. Look,
I'm trying to break your upbringing.
You want to go back in history. So the reason they went to all this early and absentee voting was back in, I think it was the 2004 election when Bush was running against Kerry. There were lines, like I waited in line to vote on election day over an hour. And people were like, this is ridiculous. So then they started the early voting where you voted at early voting polling places. And then 08 comes and the Barack Obama wave hits Illinois and the rest of the country. And the lines were like 3 hours long at the early voting places in Chicago. So they're like, we got to do something. So then they came up with the vote by mail system that we have now. So, but
yeah.
Talk about that some more. We've got our guest joining, so let's talk with
Comrade.
Oh, stop. Hey, Morgan. Good morning.
Hey, morning.
Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, it was my idea actually.
Hey, well,
you want some more?
You can become the fifth Beatle here and become a co-host with Pete. No.
So it's like Jessica Tarlov on the Five. Is that kind of what it would be like?
Or whoever the conservative one is on The View this time around. I don't know. But
I don't know. Who is the conservative one on The View?
I used to be, I mean, it was Meghan McCain for a while, but I forget who it is now.
Well, Joe, I think you must watch The View more than me. But...
Yeah, well played.
I've been told Meghan McCain was on.
Well played, Morgan. I think we should stop the interview there.
Yeah.
Well played. Yes, well played, Morgan. So Morgan, how's the campaign? How's the campaign for Congress coming along?
So are we already into it already? You know, are you recording?
We were into it 15 minutes ago. Go ahead.
Okay, even better.
This is how Pete rolls here.
Uh, no, especially since New Year's, it's really picked up. We got our current congressman running quite a bit more scared than he was. So that's good. That's good for us. Got a forum with him coming up in a couple of weeks because he pussied out of a meeting with Indivisible McHenry County, which I was going to attend. And he
Yeah.
said he wasn't comfortable with the guest list. So,
Yeah,
Including
yeah.
you?
Wait, hold on. Explain it to me like I'm a 10-year-old there, Morgan. Like what happened with that? Because he wasn't going to debate you. Then somehow he said, all right, I'll do it and I'll debate you for the League of Liberal Voters,
well,
Women Voters.
well, there were two things going on in parallel. I was in discussions with the League of Women Voters and Mano a Mano about a forum. And they said it was, if both candidates agree, then we'll do it. I'm like, cool, great. In parallel, he was supposed to talk to Indivisible in McHenry County. Do you guys know what Indivisible is?
No.
Okay, they're a progressive group. There are a few in this part of the state. There's northeastern Illinois. There are northeastern Lake County. There's western Lake County, and there's a very big one in McHenry. And they've done this before. They do town halls. They run a very tight ship. They've got 4,000 members. I'm actually part of their group. And they'd been trying to get Brad in for a while for what they called a conversation in his role as a congressman. Finally agreed to it. I registered to go. My father registered to go. The woman you're scared of, Pete, registered to go. So
Wait, who am I scared of?
the woman you told no.
Oh, you're Patsy.
My Patsy? You mean my communications
Oh,
director?
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, she's gonna see this, by the way. So
Fine.
so
Continue,
anyway,
sir.
where was I? So we signed up to go to this, and it was gonna be very formal. You write your questions out on a note card, you hand them over to the moderator. They're gonna have security and bouncers to make sure nobody was standing up screaming nasty things. And he pussed out. He and his staff were like, well, I'm not comfortable with the guest list, so we ain't coming. And then they blamed Indivisible McHenry County. They said that they specially invited me to cause a scene and to do all this other crap, and which wasn't true, like even a little bit. I've been part of the group since June. Yeah. So so not only is he a coward, he and his staff are liars to the people that are supposed to be their political allies. So if he can't do that, how's he going to stand up to anybody else?
My God, Lake County Gazette, they're going to need extra papers for their edition for all these quotes. We got Joe Weiss and Philippe Malin, our two special Republican conservative operatives of the show. Morgan just joining us. Jeff Urso and myself are going to sit back and watch this insider baseball play out. Joe Weiss, do you know what he's talking about? This Indivisible?
Sure, I've heard. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard of Indivisible. They're in a different number of communities. I think there's one in Glenview and a couple other places I've heard of. So yeah,
Lindenhurst, and then there's one in McHenry County, and there are 2 or 3 in Chicago and the west suburbs and south suburbs.
Pete can start a chapter here in Lake Forest. How about that? No,
there you go. How about it?
So Morgan, hold on. The people that aren't operatives, that don't get what's going on. Look, I don't get your beliefs that we know that. So we're going to look past that. We're going to look on what we can agree about. Maybe not so much
good.
Why we're going to elect Morgan Coghill, but why we're not going to elect Brad Schneider. Number one, yeah.
That still counts as one. Each vote counts as one.
That's right. But is the number one reason with Schneider, at least what I think it is he pays all this attention on stuff outside the 10th district, namely what's going on in Israel, the Middle East, and all that. Is that the number one reason I shouldn't vote for Schneider, or what do you think it is? And then I'll wait for Inside Baseball to pitch in.
Well, yes, to put it quite frankly, most of the money that he gets from his donors are from insurance companies, they're from weapons manufacturers, it's from APAC, it's from banks, it's from places and boardrooms outside of the 10th district that are actively operating against the interests of the people in the 10th district. I'll give you an example. United Healthcare gives him money. Blue Cross Blue Shield, these are all big insurers. He's never going to be for Medicare for all. He's never going to be motivated to push down the cost of insurance because it's in his wallet's interest not to do so. Same thing with Big Pharma. Some of those big pharma companies are in the 10th. However, he takes money from them. He's never going to push for having other drugs other than insulin be less expensive. So you're right. Most of his interests are driven by stuff outside of the 10th district and that are actively affecting us negatively in the 10th district.
Philippe, you worked for the last good guy we had in the 10th district, our guy Bobby Dold. What you know a lot about Schneider. What do you think is going on with what he's doing, and then how can we help Morgan not get Schneider not elected?
Yeah, I think I worked with Bob Dold for his entire run between 2010 and through 2016. We beat the guy named Dan Seals, then we beat Brett, then we lost to Brad Schneider, then we beat Brad Schneider, then we lost to Brad Schneider. Brad Schneider is particularly formidable because he can raise a lot of money. A lot of the money, comes from in the district, but also a lot of the out of the district. So he sort of comes in with a competitive advantage. I think his biggest weakness to some extent is his hubris. And his detachment. He has periods of laziness, I think, where you never see him run around the district. He'll post on his Facebook, hey, like my staff went to this, my staff went to that, so he's obviously formidable because he's got deep roots and everybody kind of knows who he is, and I think he's sort of seen as a safe bet. What I think, my biggest criticism of him is I think he's mediocre, like he's not a great Congress. He's been there long enough to take leadership roles and
mediocrity in Congress. I will vote for that.
I think this district is one of the most highly educated, as my friend Mark Kirk would always say, this is one of the most highly educated congressional districts in the country. We've got a lot of great business. On the Democratic side, we're probably the national leader in union and labor type stuff. And I just feel like the 10th district deserves an excellent congressman, not a mediocre congressman, and I think our expectations have lowered quite a bit in recent years in this community, maybe because of gerrymandering and uniparty dominance in this state has enervated the vigorousness of the political body and the electorate here. And so I don't know you, Morgan, but it's really hard for people who are maybe highly talented and have an exceptional thing and have a real vision to make it, because Illinois is so corrupt and so broken. And so, I applaud you for running. I always like to see people running, and putting their name on it. I've worked with a lot of candidates, who
because you want to get paid.
Okay, if that's how you want to say it, but I could get paid. One could get paid a lot of different ways. I happen to like working with candidates who have the courage to put their name on the ballot and really try to envision a different future for the people. And so I applaud you, Morgan. I like working with people like you. I'm not offering my services to you, but I like people like you who work 13, 14-hour days. A lot of people tell them, hey, there's no chance, but you have a vision and you have an idea and you keep on message and keep talking to people and you start to get converts. And that's how we make change over the long term. So I think the 10th district deserves better than Brad Schneider. I think anybody who's been there as long as Brad Schneider who hasn't done anything deserves to go. And we need some fresh blood. And in the 10th district, that probably means the Democratic Party. So maybe, so hopefully you can make some connections and get your word out. So congratulations to you for running.
Morgan, Brad Schneider has been in office now 10 years, plus the 2 years that he had in between the two Dold terms that Philippe mentioned. So 10 plus years in Congress. Lake Forest, we have term limits here in Lake Forest. Do
Yeah.
you think there should be term limits for Congress?
Yes, I do. I think it should be, and we can quibble about the number, but I think four or five terms is probably enough. One other quibble I would make in terms of term limits, and this is for all congressmen. Basically what happened was, Congress was sworn in January of 2025, and by August you're already having to collect signatures for the next year. That seems like an awful short period of time to actually be in office. But that's something way down the road. But I think there should be term limits. This is not my dream to be doing this for the rest of my life. I want to go in, make a difference, and get out and see my kids grow up. So that's my motivation for it. This is not the be all and end all of my life. And listening to congressmen talk about what am I going to do if I'm not in Congress anymore, like it's owed to them. Or when Congress people, specifically Brad, talk about it being my seat. Bullshit. It's not your seat. We had to go through the exact same process to get onto the ballot. There wasn't some incumbent advantage where they didn't have to get the same number of signatures. He had the infrastructure already built. I didn't, but I'm on the ballot. And the first time in 10 years, someone's on the ballot against him in the Democratic primary. And I can tell you, I think the last time we talked was when? October? Does that sound right? Pete?
December 6th.
With December 6th. Okay. All right. So I was
a
already
date that will live in infamy.
Exactly. I was already on the ballot, but the attitude, like Philippe mentioned, the uniparty and everybody lining up behind him. No one was going to challenge him internally from the Democratic Party. I've talked to a few people who had their eyes on his seat. I sort of, peed in their Cheerios for that one.
So the number one thing a congressperson does is vote, right? They cast all these votes on bills. Give me some votes that, if your congressman, would be different than the votes that Brad Schneider has actually cast as a congressman.
Joe, how long you got? I mean, seriously.
18 minutes.
18 minutes. Okay. House Resolution 7006. This was just last week. $3.3 billion for weapons to Israel. At the same time, limiting reproductive care for women in this country. Getting that money to Bibi Netanyahu was much more important than standing up for a democratic priority, which is defending reproductive rights. Go figure. He shouldn't have voted for that. No way. He shouldn't have voted to thank ICE for their service. That was dumb. We end up with Operation Midway Blitz about 2 months later, and he voted to memorialize Charlie Kirk after Charlie Kirk tried to kill him on January 6th. So there's three. I'm sure I can go on and on and on.
Wait, I don't like two of those three, but go ahead, Joe.
But let's talk about issues that affect voters. And the number one thing everyone's talking about is prices, cost of living. That and there's that old phrase. I think it goes back to Bill Clinton or in the 90s. It's the economy, stupid. So people are upset about prices at the grocery store and all the things that are the cost of living. What can Congress, what can the U.S. government actually do to control this, or is it just purely market conditions?
It's not market conditions, not purely. I'm an importer. I import wood products and furniture products, so I deal with tariffs. I deal with worldwide supply chains. I know how this works. One thing we could do tomorrow to bring down costs is allow Medicare to negotiate all drug prices. Because right now, we got insulin for $35 a month, but what about everything else? Medicare is it's the 900-pound gorilla in the room. If it is negotiating all drug prices, guess what? We're not subsidizing European healthcare anymore. We're bringing those savings back here. That's number one. Number two, we tax the crap out of Brad and his cronies. Why do we do that? Brad's worth $30 million a year. He's paying no taxes on he's not paying a wealth tax. He's paying the same property taxes as you or Pete or me. And his taxes on his capital gains, which are lower. So I propose taxing the billionaires and the multi-millionaires.
But they just moved.
Huh?
They just moved. Who are you going to tax next?
No, they didn't move. They're not going to move.
Well, they moved to Florida. They didn't move outside the U.S.
Okay.
So.
No, they're not going to move.
Wait, I do have a question. Where does that cutoff stop? Right. So like one thing about that is I feel like you open the door on that and then all of a sudden, you started as you're saying 800 million and up, and most people can't even fathom that. So they're like, hell yeah. But then when does it become the guy that's worth 2 million? You know what I mean?
No. It's whatever Brad is worth, that's the lower limit. Whatever Brad is worth and up from there.
Brad is going to be selling stuff right now if he loses the election.
Morgan, you're a guy I think I could sit down and have a couple Stolies with. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you pick this democratic socialism label? Is that to get the young voters, or is this something you've always believed? Like, why don't you be a conservative Democrat? I think you'd have a better chance against Mr. Stuff Suit.
Well, Brad is a conservative Democrat, and I didn't actually pick that label. I think you did.
Okay. What label should I pick?
Oh, aggressive progressive. That's me. Loudmouthed aggressive progressive. That's
what does that mean, though? What AOC Somalia? I'm sorry, but that's what I'm thinking in my mind, because I can sum it up in 3 sentences, Morgan, and I can deal with your handler later afterwards in the comment section.
Her name's Augusta, and she'll don't worry, you'll be talking to her.
No, I think I blocked her, or we blocked each other. I don't know. It was mutual, but it's like a couple of principles that just stick in my head. There's people that there has to be differentiation on who is producing, who's better for society, unfortunately. And there's more people that are less producing for society than there are that are producing. And we're going to put all the burden on the people that are producing, that they're going to say, you know what, I don't want to produce anymore. And you're going to turn into situations like Cuba, Morgan. You can come in and you can come back on that. You'll say, well, we're just going to tax these billionaires. These billionaires have armies of lawyers and accountants and say, you know what, I'm going to go someplace more friendly and leave. Then they leave.
Fine. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Then who's left to tax? The middle class, right?
No. That's not the way it works.
Okay.
If you have, first of all, most of these billionaires, Jeff Bezos doesn't exist without the U.S. Postal Service. Elon Musk doesn't exist without NASA and the Defense Department. None of these people exist in a vacuum. They have built their businesses on the backs of the American taxpayer and the programs that the American taxpayer has already paid for. So to call them self-made and that they're the producers, bullshit. No, it's you guys are the producers. I'm the producer. My wife, the people who are working on my campaign, we are the producers. These guys are, they're showing the big bucks at the top. They know the loopholes. Fine. They want to peace out to Dubai? Fine, go. You want to keep your American citizenship, the IRS is still going to find you. We're one of the few countries that still taxes people when they're living overseas. I know because I had to do this. You still got to fill out tax returns even if you're making money overseas. So you want that U.S. passport, guess what? You're still paying taxes here. So the whole billionaire flight, fuck them. No, I don't care. It's a bluff, and it's used to scare people to think, oh my God, what if Jeff Bezos isn't gonna, build another distribution center or AI data center here? What are we gonna do? Well, screw them.
Okay. Philippe, is that, go ahead, Philippe. Is that scalable?
Well, I was just going to maybe ask, instead of reacting to that directly, I was just going to ask you, because Morgan, you seem pretty animated about like the taxing side of millionaires and billionaires, which is, I think on the Democratic side, a very popular position, and in certain parts of the 10th, I think it'd be a popular position. But I was wondering, and if you could answer this question, maybe include in light of the what we saw a little bit going on in Minnesota with the Somalian kind of like apparent alleged sort of fraudulent daycares and stuff like that. Can you one talk to us about like what you're going to do with all of Jeff Bezos's money and how you're going to make sure that actually gets to a place that helps people and doesn't get caught up in bureaucratic red tape and layers of people in Washington, D.C. pushing paper, or get caught up in fraud like it is apparently in Minnesota. Because,
Mhm.
like I think, the idea of taxing a trillionaire sounds good, but the idea of that money just getting sucked away into fraudulent or waste is not good. So what are you going to do with all that money if you're the king of the United States?
Well, I'm not going to be the king. I'm going to be the representative of the 10th,
What would
at
you
the
do?
head of a progressive.
Ideally.
Ideally, Medicare for all, and we would eliminate insurance, for-profit insurance companies. That's number one. We would abolish ICE because, why do we need ICE? You're talking about the Somalis and fraud. All right, let's talk about fraud, large-scale fraud. Let's look at the Pentagon, who hasn't passed an audit in 10 years. Let's look at all the internal dealings within the executive branch. Let's not focus, the people in Minnesota who committed fraud, they should be tried. And if they're convicted, they should go to jail. No doubt about it. That is a violation of the public trust. Let's not compare this amount of money to this amount of money that this current regime is siphoning off in self-dealing every day. I mean, apples to oranges.
Morgan, why don't you talk about fraud in the 10th district? Do we know Schneider's done his due diligence to make sure that we don't have hospices, childcare, transportation? Is there fraud in the 10th district?
Dude, he had a staffer, pretend to be an FBI agent and overpaid himself 80 grand. I mean, come on. The dude can't even keep his own house in order. So
what's his story? Hold on.
So he had a staffer.
Hold on. Lake County Gazette's getting their pen. Go ahead.
This is a couple years ago.
Yeah. So all of the details still seem to be kind of murky, but he had a staffer that was paid him, I think it was 80 grand too much, and pretended to be an FBI agent, and, he didn't really catch it. They sort of let it go. So, if you want to talk about fraud, waste, and abuse, Brad ain't the guy to deal with it. That's for sure. No, yes, there are going to be people who are going to be doing fraudulent things, and they should be punished. But painting the whole world as, people who are fraudulent is not the way this works.
I'm just saying, instead of Augusta blaming me in the comments, why doesn't she pull a Nick Shirley and go knock on some doors and see if these federal receiving funds companies exist?
Well, they exist. They exist here. Walgreens, Abbott, the Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, they all exist here. They all get massive taxpayer subsidies. So, they don't let us in the door, unfortunately. So Pete, again, you're talking about fraud like this. We're talking about fraud like this.
I'm talking about 10th district, Morgan. I'm just saying
I am too.
The energy that you, okay.
Hey,
Philippe,
Morgan.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Pete, go ahead. So I just looked it up on Google here. The median household income in Lake Forest is $220,000.
Damn.
All right. So this is a Lake Forest audience. Are you saying that, in your ideal world, we would pay no more, the median 220 household income per year would pay no more taxes and would get free Medicare for all? Is that kind of what you're offering the voters of Lake Forest, or are we going to have to pay more, or how's it going to impact the median household income?
The median household income will go up because you won't have health insurance premiums. Yeah, your FICA taxes are going to go up.
Okay.
But you won't have health insurance premiums. My health insurance premiums, I live in Mundelein and I have a small business, so it's a little off. And I'm on the ACA, but we pay $2,800 a month for a family of 4. That's just in the premium.
So that
That's
goes
like-
away.
That goes away.
Okay.
Now, yes, our
Social Security and stuff will go up. And FICA,
so
payroll
yeah,
will
the
go up.
FICA taxes would go
Okay.
up. Absolutely.
Okay.
So overall, household income goes up, service goes up, and costs come down. Because right now, ask any doctor, they're spending, their offices are spending 33% of their costs are wrangling with insurance companies
Totally.
and administration.
Can I jump in? Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead,
So
Jeff.
Morgan, me and you are kind of unique. We own a small business, so we pay that cost. I get that, right? I pay that cost too.
Yes.
But the medium people income in Lake Forest probably have jobs that are provided healthcare. So are you saying that we're just replacing their current healthcare, but then their taxes would go up for the people that have jobs?
Yes, their taxes would go up, but their costs would go down.
How would their costs go down if their employer is providing them health insurance?
Because their employer doesn't have to deal with that crap anymore. Now you have a small.
So, but you're thinking
pay
the
higher
employer is
wages
just gonna, but you think the employers are just gonna hand out raises in lieu of health insurance?
Probably not all of them. I would. You probably would, but not all insurers or not all employers are so nice. But think about it as a small business.
Wait, did I just hear inflation?
It's just
No.
switching.
No,
I mean,
listen, I share
I'm
a
just-
lot of your thoughts and echo on. I believe that there should be a better system, and I think we talked about it last time, for healthcare for everybody, 100%. There's no disagreement with that. The problem is, how do you get there? I mean, I believe there should be more access to county hospitals, more access to free clinics, more access to stuff like that, and that is better overall for society, 100%. And I think you could allocate a lot of federal dollars that way. But I don't share the value in taxing one person to pay someone else and then kind of selling it and saying, well, your overall cost as a person will go down. I believe that out of the people in Lake Forest, probably 90% work for somebody and 10% own a business, right? I'm just throwing out a raw number. Those 90% are going to wind up paying more money and not benefiting it. So it kind of sounds like this is a good benefit for small business owners, but a terrible benefit for people that work for somebody.
It depends. Like, for instance, the previous company I worked for, I paid, let's say it's $2,000 a month is your healthcare premium. I was paying 60% of that. And then the employer was paying the other, how much? The other 40%. So, and that's just the premium to to Blue Cross or United. That's just waste. Whereas that money, instead of being $2,000 total, you cut it, let's say even by 25%, it's $1,500. So depending on how it's busted out, that money, yes, it is a tax. You're absolutely right. But you're cutting out a lot of the middlemen, you're cutting out a lot of the waste in the middle. So a lot of the people who do have those jobs, depending on how much their employer is covering of that, it could be raises, it could be vacation time, it could be parental leave, it could be a lot of things. It could be, like investing more in their physical.
But that's market driven, right? So if I'm an employer and I want to attract a new employee, then I say, okay, I could give out more money or I could offer those things, but that's not going to be government mandated. So I just think that you are going to get into a slippery slope where companies, especially with margins so small, as you know, in business, there's going to be plenty of companies that will profiteer off of this. So
there could be.
So I think, I'm just talking off the cuff here, but I work with a lot of young people, and a lot of them aren't really engaged in this subject till they're 26 years old because they're riding on their parents' insurance. Until that. So after 26, I honestly think if you took the approach, and this is again just an opinion, instead of saying Medicare for all and this and that or whatever, if you took the approach of saying, how do we just make this better and cheaper, not free? I think people would resonate with that a lot more. That's just my opinion, because it seems more manageable. You got to crawl before you walk, before you run, right? So I don't know. That's just my take on it.
Morgan, I was being a jerk earlier, and when I threw in the inflation, because it's just what I do. But to lower the inflation, would it help by requiring an actual ID to go vote? Because then you would kind of tamper down all the people the inflows of decisions that have no skin in the game.
Pete, come on, man. That
Come
is
on,
such
dude.
nonsense. That is such nonsense.
So we shouldn't, no ID.
You have an ID when you register to vote. There is no voter fraud in the United States.
The
None.
question still
It
stands,
does not
sir.
help. What?
Should you have
what
an
does it-
ID when you show up to vote? That's all I want.
No, you shouldn't have to have one. No.
All right, you lost me again. Continue.
I wanted to ask one more question on your plan, Morgan. Okay, so we have Lake Forest Hospital. Okay, here, a lot of people I think really like it. So Medicare for all. Medicare right now is like an insurance. It's basically like a insurance for seniors and a few others.
Yeah.
So in your plan, would you federalize the healthcare provision, or would that remain private? Would Lake Forest remain like under Northwestern? Maybe it's a nonprofit or a for-profit company, and it would be paid it would be paid. So you have like the federal government insurance, and then you'd have private healthcare, maybe also public healthcare. Or would you say we're going to make all the doctors employees of the federal government or something?
No. It would be, right now the best run hospitals, especially hospitals, they're nonprofits. They know what they're doing. So basically the billing wouldn't go from, say, Lake Forest Hospital to Blue Cross and then to Medicare. Or to the employee, it would just go Lake Forest Hospital, single payer, whether that payer is based in Illinois or one big federal one. But no, I wouldn't envision, everybody
federalizing all the doctors and stuff. Okay. All right, cool.
Now,
I've always sort of wondered what Medicare for all, how far that.
When I say that, I mean single payer.
Payer.
That's what I'm getting at.
A comment I keep hearing from a lot of people, Morgan, is that it's a long wait to see a doctor. It's a long wait at the emergency room when they have to go for something. Do we have a shortage of medical personnel and medical facilities? And can the government address that?
Yes, the government can. And we do have a shortage of medical personnel and medical facilities, especially ones that are available. I'll give you an example. Waukegan right now has one for-profit hospital. And if you're pregnant in Waukegan, good luck, because they closed down their maternity ward because it wasn't profitable enough.
They go to Lake Forest.
Lake Forest or Libertyville, Condell, to go into Condell, which I guess if your water breaks and it's 5 degrees below zero, I guess 45 minutes or however long it is, and the ambulance is okay. But one of the issues is right now, people who go to medical school or nursing school, they're coming out with this massive amount of debt. And so they're looking at it, all right, do I want to be a general practitioner or a podiatrist or an OBGYN, or do I want to be a plastic surgeon where I can get rid of all of this debt in 5 years as opposed to having it track me the rest of my life? And that's part of the issue. So they go become plastic surgeons. So there's a dearth of some of those more everyday specialties.
Is malpractice a bigger issue or the tuition burden?
I think it's tuition burden. Malpractice insurance is also very high. I'm not going to pretend that I have a magic bullet on that one, but the tuition burden is outrageous. So people are drawn to more highly specialized fields. Whereas if, it would be nice to have another, pediatrician down the street. So that's going to be part of the issue. ER doctors are the same thing.
How would you address that? I mean, I guess lawyers are the same way, right? I mean, you got your public defenders versus your big corporate guys. How would you address that?
I'd make medical school tuition free.
You'd make medical, okay, but then what about people that want to be lawyers that are doing like great work out there for other fields, engineers, stuff like that? Do we draw it on medical school, or would you like open that up to anyone that serves greater good for society?
Well, ideally, I'd make all higher education tuition free, but we're talking specifically about medicine right now. The debt burden that nurses and doctors have is extraordinarily high. And we have this thing called residencies. So every year, Medicare has a certain amount of money for residencies, and they go to certain hospitals and places, and they're not evenly distributed. And we're producing more people from medical schools per year than there are residencies available. So a lot of these, the residencies for, surgery, brain surgery, plastic surgery, the sexier professions, they're filling up. Whereas the residency for a pediatrician in central Kansas, maybe not.
That's a supply and demand issue, though, right?
But we're artificially narrowing the supply. There's X number of residencies, and there's X plus 10 number of people who are graduating from medical school, and the market forces that are forcing a lot of the people who are graduating, they end up gravitating towards these much higher end professions and not necessarily the ones that we need more of. So therefore, your wait times are higher. Your facilities aren't as good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with some of what you're saying, but I know kids that are 24 years old now with college degrees that have $150K in debt, and they're being offered $50,000 jobs. I'm out there convincing them to join the union. Some kid that used to work for me, he's now a union plumber. I mean, in 5 years, he's going to make over $100,000. So I think just pointing towards saying, hey, let's subsidize, because now you're saying, oh, free education for all. Where do you limit that? And then how do you make it equitable with a 19-year-old kid that wants to join the electricians union? Are we offering him a $150,000 stipend for a house? That's where people's issue is with that. Like, why does someone else deserve to have free money and then someone else has to go work? Like, where's the line?
If I was some kid who graduated high school who wasn't book smart, who struggled to get through English and history and whatever.
Yeah, that's me.
But I was real hand smart. I wanted to be an electrician, and I see some kid who gets his 4-year degree in basket weaving, and then once it all paid for, I'd be pissed off too. But there are other ways to make sure that they're taken care of. For instance, one idea that I've had, and it needs to be fleshed out, trade schools, make them tuition free as well. And
they are, though. All the unions provide free trade schools.
Awesome.
They actually pay you to go to those schools.
But then they get the fees from you.
No, they do. Stop with that, Pete. It's 3%, man.
Oh, okay.
I mean, get out of here.
Everybody's preaching their book here.
But then even after that, okay, you're going to be a union electrician. You still got to buy your tools, and the snap, or if
I get that, but you're talking about a couple grand versus a couple $100,000. You know what I mean?
Right, well, I'm talking specifically about auto mechanics, because they can spend 15 grand on. Is it going to be perfect?
I just think you're going to create a system of things. But do I agree that these schools? Well, so again, and you're the one running for Congress, but instead of saying we're going to pay the bill for a private college who's profiting, which sounds like you're against the insurance companies that are profiting, why don't we invest more in public secondary education, right? So why don't we get better
post-secondary? Yes.
Post-secondary. So
Jeff, keep your eye on the road, dude.
I'm not driving. My wife's driving.
Thank God.
My wife's driving.
Hotie's driving.
I got my seatbelt on.
I was terrified for you.
No, we're all good, dude. But so I honestly think if we had better public college, I mean, CLC is a great program. I mean, there's a lot of great programs. But if someone wants to pay $200,000 to go to a private school, so be it. Let them. That doesn't mean that everyone else should pay for that, right?
No, I agree. And someone let's take Harvard as an example, because they're easy to pick on. They have an endowment of over some outrageous amount of money.
$1 zillion.
Something really stupid, but they're not growing their student base. They're not growing it faster than than population because they want to keep it, exclusive.
Well, China.
And, they're talking about, well, we don't want to devalue the brand, et cetera, et cetera. Well, okay, guys, you want to keep doing this? You want to be a nonprofit, and most of these private universities and colleges are nonprofit, technically. You want to do that, you got to start serving more people, and you got to start bringing your costs down. There's no good reason, like you pointed out, that a year in college costs 150 grand. It just should not happen.
Well,
There's
I
no
agree
good
with you
reason
there.
for
That 501c3 loophole right now, and that's across not just college education. I mean, it's in youth sports. It's across the thing.
Yeah,
There is this loophole, just so everyone knows, it's a 501c3. Some people do great work with 501c3. So I want to first
Got
of all
one in
say
Lake
that.
Forest who claims to be one
Duly
too.
noted, right, Pete? Duly noted. There's
Joe
more
wakes up.
501c3s that do better, but there are plenty of people that can start a 501c3 and you can pay yourself as an executive, basically whatever you want. And instead of owning the business, you basically found this huge tax loop. So 501c3s need to be looked at, or whatever the colleges use. But you know what I mean? But I agree with you. So if it's a for-profit thing, tax them.
Yeah.
Don't I would say don't tax the hardworking people that are making $200-some thousand in Lake Forest. That's who you should go tax. What I mean?
I can't believe I'm giving all this time to a Democratic socialist, Morgan Coghill.
No, listen. I think Morgan has some great ideas and great values, and I
want to ask
Morgan.
I want to ask Morgan one last question. We'll let him.
I just think everyone's got to meet in the middle. That's the problem.
Okay, the Democratic Socialist thing, my perception, that's all that I have is my perception, is the kids like it because they don't know any better. But you throw out the Democratic Socialist countries, I don't know, Sweden, Finland, whatever, but are you for doing what they do, where once you graduate high school, you got to do a year or so in public service in the military and whatnot? Are you for or against that?
I think it would be a good idea.
Okay.
Because right now, a lot of us, you guys are in Lake Forest, I'm in Mundelein. A lot of us living in our silos. We don't meet people from other parts of the country. And, part of one of the things that has formed me is I've lived all over the country. I've lived all over the world. And you learn a bit more about yourself and about other people and how they think and how they react to certain things when you're going outside your comfort zone. Why do you think I asked to come back on here? I thought could have knocked Pete over with a feather. He's just like, "Are you sure, man? You want to come back on?" I'm like, yeah, I do.
You've been wearing your filter at work?
My filter, huh?
Don't you got the sawdust over there at the cabinet shop?
Oh yeah, I do frequently, but I'm not usually the one sawing it. I'm usually just inspecting it, which is just a pain in the butt.
You're not a member of the working people, huh?
I am a member of the working people when I have to haul, 3/4 inch
comrade
4x8 sheets around. That's a pain in the butt, to put it mildly.
Morgan, where do we send the young voters to you?
CoghillForCongress.com. So that's all lowercase. And I'd like to ask all your youngins, and you guys tell 5 people about me. You want transparency in government? Yeah, talk to the fuck you lefty, and that's me, as opposed to the pick me down.
When is this event that you're going to? You said, I think we said at the beginning that you are going to appear with Brad Schneider at a League of Women Voters event. Yes. When is that? How can people see that?
It's if you go to the League of Women Voters, and I can send you the link as well. It's going to be over Zoom, unfortunately, because Brad again is a pussy. So we're gonna have to. I still want to get him one-on-one in a debate. So it's February 19th at 7 p.m.
And election day is March 17th. And just for a little clarification, you have to put a Democratic ballot in order to vote for you.
Yes.
When you go to vote, it's a Republican or a Democratic ballot. And everybody should go and vote regardless of your party, because primary elections matter. So, right?
They do. They do.
And tell the ladies there they should fix their sign. They should call it the League of Liberal Women Voters over the age of 80.
I don't think 80. I don't think that's fair. The woman who called
84.
me, I think she was in her 20s. So
Oh, all right. Oh, well, because you're the socialist guy. I get it. Morgan Coghill, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Morgan. Good luck
we'll
to
edit
you.
most of this stuff out. We got
thank you guys.
lesser important issues than you to discuss right now. Tell Augusta I love you.
All downhill after Morgan leaves.
Remind me to unblock her.
All right, I'll tell her.
Take care.
Sure.
Da,
All right.
da.
Da.
Okay. Okay. So we have. Here, hold on.
Did you guys want to get rid of me now?
You want to hang out for this? You can, or you got other.
It's all Lake Forest specific. You'll lose votes no matter what you say in this discussion.
Parking and water main.
Oh, water main. Oh, great. No, actually, I have a meeting in about half an hour, so I gotta go. But I just want to say, guys, thanks. It was a lot of fun.
Anytime,
I
Morgan.
enjoyed
Love
it.
you,
Thanks,
baby.
Morgan. Good
Love
luck
you,
to you.
Augusta. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Okay. All right, John. So we got parking, and then we got Joe Weiss making the news. Joe Weiss, why the hell are you in the headlines?
I'm just the messenger. But basically, I filed a complaint with the State Board of Elections that that Lake Forest for Transparency, LF4T, is not transparent, that they're not disclosing their donors, they're not disclosing their expenditures. They're acting like a campaign committee. I mean, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. All right. They have yard signs telling people how to vote in caucus elections. I'm willing to bet you when we have the election by the caucus to decide who's on the ballot for the general election next year, they're going to be telling people to vote yes or vote no for those candidates. So they are involved in general elections. They say they're not, but they are. Okay. And so let's let the state board hear it. Now, their defense is, oh, we're a 501c3, as we just had that discussion with Morgan about a lot of 501c3 abuse. But there's a lot of good 501c3s. So if you go to the IRS website and you do a search, there's a page. I'll send you guys the link. You search by city. So I searched by Lake Forest. There's over 400 501c3s here in Lake Forest. Many of them we've all heard of that do wonderful work. Mother's Trust, Fill a Heart for Kids, all the churches in town, the Parks and Rec Foundation, all
Legion.
things that do good things for good people, all right? Or for needy people in many cases. They're not on that list. LF4T is not on that list, nowhere to be found. So they're not registered with the IRS as a 501c3. More importantly, so they are registered as a nonprofit with the Illinois Secretary of State. But if you go to the Secretary of State's webpage, they're listed as in not good standing.
Gotta pay the money.
So, and I sent you guys the screenshot of that.
That just means they haven't paid the bill.
Well, but that means they're not in good standing. So again, they're doing this. The bigger picture here is, I don't want to
Clear, it's not
because here's what's going to happen.
The state isn't saying that they're doing anything nefarious. They just haven't paid.
Well,
John,
no,
I got
I think
operated
75
without
bucks
a
for you.
license.
No, I disagree with that. Here's where it is. So I'm willing to bet you Turkla is going to watch this podcast and the rest of their officers,
John,
and they're going to figure out
on.
how to be in good standing with the Secretary of State, and they may very well figure out a way to file with the IRS. But the fact of the matter is that they're doing this to hide who their donors are, okay? And the problem is that causes unfair that's an unfair competition. So they're essentially competing with the Lake Forest caucus on these caucus votes. The caucus has to disclose everything that is given to them and everything that is spent. And these guys have no accountability. And another part of this is donations to this non-for-profit that they have set up are tax deductible. Okay, I think people should get a tax break if they give to groups like Mother's Trust and Fill a Heart for Kids. Okay, those are very worthy organizations, and your donation should be anonymous to them. It's between you, the organization, and the IRS, and it should be tax deductible. But when you're donating money to put up yard signs and to tell people how to vote to determine who is going to be on the ballot in a general election, I'm sorry, that is an abuse of the tax code, and it's an insult to all the true charitable organizations that we have doing good work here in Lake Forest. So no matter how this plays out, how the state board They may find the letter of the law on this and all that. We'll find out when we have the hearing in March. But I'm going to file a complaint with the Secretary of State. I'm going to file a complaint with the Internal Revenue Service. And let's see, they may be able to sneak through the rules, but I'll tell you one thing, and one thing that's for sure, they sure as hell ain't transparent.
Philippe, your thoughts?
I think if you're going to engage in political activity, you need to be a political organization. Now that's different than like we do parents care. We do oversight. So we treat ourselves more like a newspaper and act more like a newspaper. We're not putting up yard signs. We're not like engaging in election activity. And so I think this is something for the Illinois Board of Elections to do. But if you're engaging activity like sending emails telling people how to vote and putting up yard signs and stuff like that, that to me seems like political activity, and you should have to file with the State Board of Elections, And so I think they probably are out of compliance, and I think Joe's doing good work. We have election transparency laws for a reason, and our democracy gets undermined. I think so. I don't think they're doing bad things, but I think they need to go through the right processes and channels in order to do the things that they are doing. So I just think that they need to get into compliance. And I don't. This doesn't make them bad people. People don't think about these things necessarily. I don't think this makes them bad, or that they're like particularly nefarious. I'm not going to attribute their motivations that they're trying to hide things or be secretive. I just think that they haven't thought through this right. And I think Joe is thinking through this the right way. And I think ultimately they are going to file for a PAC with the State Board of Elections ultimately.
You're a wordsmith, man. I love you. I love you, Philippe.
Did I make sense? Hopefully
you do. You do. Okay. It's so you're velvety smooth. So let's get to stuff that's not velvety smooth. Me and Jeff Urso. Jeff, did you catch any of the notes from City Council and all the different color codings on parking and how that's going to work? It sounds like they were listening to you.
I've been watching. Yeah, there's been an RFP out for a little bit, so I've been watching it. I tried to understand that a little bit. I didn't put it in Gronk or chat, but from my understanding is it's an electronic enforcement, right? If I'm correct on this. And what that does is it's actually going to allow customers and residents to run into their shops, and they have plenty of time to do so. But people that are parked there all day are going to get ticketed. So if you want to park all day, you got to move to the proper lots. And I think that's the ultimate goal. And kudos to Lake Forest for addressing that.
Hold on. How are they going to enforce it? They're going to put 2 cameras on each squad car and have them go around every 30 minutes.
I think it's something that's how a lot of cities are doing it. I mean, it's you drive by and the license plate reads where it's parked. It reads your license plate where it's parked, and then when they do another pass through, it's the same idea as chalking a tire without chalk. I mean, right? So it's more efficient and it's more accurate.
But this is Lake Forest. Are all the privacy guys going to come up? Are we going to see another LF4?
The privacy is already. If you don't think there's cameras watching you when you drive and when you leave your house, you're sadly mistaken.
There's a camera on every red light.
I know, but
I mean
I'm just envisioning the 3-minute dais chat that somebody's going to go up there and protest against this. Is that going to be a barrier to get this thing done? What I thought I heard was free up the train parking lot to put the employees in there. Is that that'll do a lot right there, right?
That'll be huge. That's the number one goal, is to get everyone on. And that lot is kind of underutilized as it is post COVID. So that would actually get as many staff. I mean, think about how many staff members everyone has. Jewel has a private parking lot. They can do whatever they want. But like everyone else up and down Western, there's really not parking for the staff, so they're a lot of them are parking on the streets.
And those guys, like business owners like you, can get a permit for those guys to park in that lot over there, right?
Well, currently we can, yes. Okay. So that's already in place.
That's in place. Okay. Okay.
But however, that permit comes at a cost, right? Yeah. So I've been trying to say, and especially in the restaurant business, we got some of these kids that are 19 years old that work by us once a week. Do we want to get?
Right.
Does it make sense to get them a benefit for 4 Fridays a month, or should we just make that lot free for staff park. Anyone can park there, not just
Isn't there
staff.
something, Jeff? Wasn't there something about getting away from the stickers and having just you put your license plate, the employee's license plate, into some website, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you register it, and then they know. So then when they go do their traffic enforcement, the plates are there. I think this is a very efficient way to address this. So I think this is awesome.
I mean, anytime you have, I mean, look, this isn't Woodfield, this isn't Vernon Hills. There's a limited amount of parking, okay? And we're a victim of our success. Businesses like you have brought more people into the Market Square area, and so, which is a good thing.
We brought more trees.
But now there's only, everybody unless you live like where Pete lives, everybody drives to get there. So, I mean, people have to pick and choose. And for some people, it's harder than others. I always take the far lot and just walk because I'm able-bodied. I don't mind. I need the exercise. I don't want people scratching up my car. I hate parallel parking, all that. But I get it. I'm not like everybody. If somebody can't find parking, they're probably going to say, screw it, I'll go to a restaurant instead of Duffers where I can park my car easily. So it's more than just the cost of these tickets and the cost of these meters. It's the impact on business to the city, right?
100%. It's go even hometown and Starbucks deal with this during the day. Sure. I mean, you know how many times I've been like, I've been like, Gerhardt's too, of course. But like, there's been plenty of times, even Dunkin', I was like, I'm going to go run in and get a coffee. And I drive by and I'm like, never mind. Yeah. So I make a point to go to the Dunkin' in Knollwood because there's a drive-through and I don't have to deal with parking for 10 minutes. And as much as I would love to get some more exercise in the morning, Joe, I just don't have time in my day to walk 10 minutes each way for
or if it's pouring rain or whatever. Yeah.
Whatever, so I think this just frees it up.
I had just a couple comments. I listened to the board meeting. Pete sent it over to me last night, so I appreciate you doing that, Pete. That was great. Couple things. I don't know if this is a real concern or not, but I have slight concern about the city starting to monetize parking and seeing it as a real revenue source, and maybe concerned about slippery slopes. So I don't know if this is at all realistic or not. I certainly don't want parking meters ever in Lake Forest. So I would just say maybe the city should come up with a way not to like think of this as a money source. Maybe they cap how much. I don't know exactly.
I don't think they would. They didn't even want revenue from Costco. So do you think they're going to want money from?
That was a terrible mistake.
That was a terrible mistake. All right, that was just one minor one. The other thing too, I had an idea. There's many references of hometown parking situation over there. They have a very small parking lot and they have a lot of people. The building across the street, 222 Wisconsin, has excess capacity, and I just feel like private. I know, but I think maybe the owner of that building and hometown should come up with an agreement, and hometown should lease or whatever. And
like Cubs parking. I want Jeff's kid out there with a sign.
Yeah, and as much as I agree with that, that's a great solution sometimes. But you know how fast and easy it is for someone to piss someone off, and then all of a sudden it's like, never mind, you can't park here, and I'll tow your customer. So I deal with this in Knollwood. The guy that owns the gas station bought the old Angelos, right? It's empty. No one is there. So when Brodsky's is full, right? Someone might park over there, and then they send a tow truck driver like psychopaths.
I know.
And
but they should come up with a deal. I have a proposal. I feel like Pete, you got us shopping carts at the Jewel. Thank you very much for that. You go over to one of Jeff's fine establishments, and you get the owner of 222 and you get the owner of hometown, and you get him drunk and you get him to kind of work out a deal, and maybe we could make it better.
You drive them home because we don't want to.
But there's a city lot right there, isn't there? A city lot right there, right by that Lake Forest Bank drive-through.
Just an idea, Jeff.
Well, you have a lot of to that point.
They planted a tree there.
You have a lot of these bank buildings that many years ago were used, but physical banking is becoming less and less. So Northern Trust, all these other banks that you can think of, what's going to happen with these buildings going forward, both in terms of the available parking that they have that was intended for bank customers that are no longer coming, but also the buildings themselves, they can't sit empty forever or underutilized forever. Somebody's going to say, look, I'm going to monetize this and put something in here that's going to make more money.
Let's go. I think, yeah, better use of the real estate. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, physical
those
banking.
are my two late night.
Physical
thoughts.
banking is going to be, anybody, no one under 40 walks into a bank. So,
Jeff, when you get the
ticket.
kids that come on, especially the high schoolers, like, do you got to Venmo them, or they got to set their first taste of a checking account?
What, like the kids I pay?
Yeah.
No, you get a paycheck every Friday.
Well,
a paper check?
Paper check. We don't do direct. I did direct deposit years ago. And then, and my wife's out of the car now, so I could tell this story.
Yeah,
she was doing my payroll, and she deposited the wrong amount into the wrong, people's checks. She like swapped a couple, and I'm like, nope, we're not doing that. It was a nightmare, And then I have to ask them to send money back. It's like, nah. So every Friday you get a paper check, and you take a picture of it, and you put it in your account. That's it. That's what they do. They take a picture, and they do mobile deposits.
It works.
I go to the bank a lot, but I mean, and I'll tell you what, when you're like, no one's at banks, you go to Chase or Lake Forest Bank any given day, there's always people there doing stuff. So
can you imagine? I just had a flashback, and I'm sorry.
What's up?
You have a big night, and I don't know if we want to talk about this on the show. We can cut it out, Jeff.
No, it's fine. You're asking about cash, right?
You got that big canvas bag. It's not as much cash as in the old days,
Dude,
right?
Lake Forest,
It's
we're at 93% credit.
So I'm just bringing up a flashback of when it wasn't. You would have to have that big canvas bag filled with, rubber banded bills, speaking like a dealer going to the night drop with your copper. That's so
funny you should say that. That's how I started my first pizza place. I was 25. It was in 2010. And I saved up singles. I mean, I used to rubber band them. Walked in with 3 shopping bags, and I went up to the teller. I'm like, hey, can I color up? And he didn't know what that meant. I'm like, okay, can I have big bills? And then he's like, you got to fill out these forms. I'm like, I'm just changing out money, bro. It took him an hour and a half to count it. There was 3 tellers going, those days are gone though, man.
Yeah, all right.
We don't even accept cash after 9:00 at Duffers. So I don't know if you know that. It's credit card only after 9:00. And it's for multiple reasons. We take the cash out of there before 9:00. It keeps our staff safer. If you're coming in to rob us, you're going to get a Bud Light. That's about it. It's easier for customers that, just want to go. I mean, I was at the Blackhawks game the other night. You go anywhere now. It's all cashless. In 10 years, you won't even see cash, I bet. It'll be like a home phone.
So nobody knows what it's like to carry around a $250 bag of quarters?
No, I mean, even the coins, dude, half the time our bartenders are like, we don't even do coins, just round it up or round it down.
Government eliminated the penny. They don't even make the penny anymore.
I know. It's great going to Shell now, and they're just like, it's on us.
I want the 9/10 coin.
Yeah.
Boys, do we cover everything? I thought those were the 3 things. We gave the comrade a little bit more time, but interesting.
He's a nice guy. And you know what? I could see he's got an uphill battle against an incumbent like Schneider, especially in the 10th district. But I could see him winning elsewhere or another race. He does have the charisma to appeal to people that I think he could win some other race.
He is a nice
I just
guy,
don't think this year this race is in the cards for him.
It's just anytime someone hates the man, you know what I mean? They're like,
a lot of
I hate the
vibes,
man.
that
It was
stuff,
just
yeah.
it was anger.
AOC knocked off a longtime Democratic incumbent when she first.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying his potential to win. It's just I mean, he kind of endorsed Schneider by saying he's a conservative Democrat. That's
Yeah,
I don't know. I think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the question is going to be for him: are the vote blue, no matter who Democrats in places like Highland Park, are they going to stick with Schneider, or are they going to vote for
Schneider?
Morgan?
Well,
they love Schneider in Highland Park.
Yeah, and I think you guys demonize some of these. Listen, we're in Illinois. Everyone's a Democrat if they're going to win 100%. I mean, I tell you guys in the middle of the time, I don't vote in primaries. I refuse to, and I won't in this one. I know that's bad, but you know why? Because then people pull your voting record, and they're like, you're either Democrat or Republican. Yeah, I just don't
would
do
say,
it.
Jeff, what you were saying about that guy earlier, Morgan Coghill, is like he got really animated when he was talking about taxing trillionaires, and he sort of calmed down and wasn't like that excited about what he's actually going to do the money. So it almost seemed like it was
Right.
more of like he's got a punitive sort of vibe, like he's trying to
But-
punish people for being successful, as opposed to like really coming at it like, here's what I want to do, and I hate having to tax Bezos. I think he should be doing his stuff, but like we need this money for other reasons.
But
He's more like,
you know
fuck
who
that
else
guy.
said?
I want to tax him into oblivion because he's a bad
Well,
dude.
and that-
I don't want. I got to get going here,
It's-
but you
It's
know who
because
else
he's
said
paying the
that same?
2,800. It's because he's paying that 2,800. And if you know that was a very personal thing.
I get it.
He's paying 3,000 in insurance costs. But when I was like, hey, think about all the people working that.
That's
get
when
it.
that's what wasn't animated.
That's when it
Like, if he
flips, right.
started about it earlier and talked
Here's
about
what's
that, then said,
interesting.
how do we get paid for it?
Some of the stuff he said, and the Bezos one is a good example. Just a few years ago, Donald Trump was saying the same thing. Donald Trump, when he was fighting with Jeff Bezos in his first term, because of the Washington Post, was saying Amazon is getting a free ride from the post office, and that's going to end, and yada yada yada. So it's funny how you have the two ends. If you go with the horseshoe theory, you have people on the far right and the far left at times converging in the same place.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I think his motives are good, heartedly. Like, I don't think he's trying to hurt anyone. Like, I think he believes
No,
what
I
he's
don't.
saying.
Yeah, he believes
But
what
I
he's saying.
think
I agree.
I just think that the path that he's not realizing. Think about, okay, you get rid of insurance company, for-profit insurance company. How many jobs would be lost with that?
Well, and you talk about pharmaceuticals. The biggest employer around here are Abbott and AbbVie.
Yeah, so I don't think he's thinking about
if I work for Abbott or AbbVie, which is like a lot of people in Lake Forest, I'm like, back off, dude.
Yeah, I don't think he's thinking about the damage that it would cause to other people in that. So I hope he gives that some thought, because I like him as a
I
person.
mean, like I
and
said,
think-
I don't think as the
There's so many
as the
nice
Linkin
people.
Park song goes, in the end, it doesn't even matter. So
Yeah.
Philippe, let me ask you this question. We'll split. Am I being a dick making fun of Lake Forest voters because only 8% showed up?
Yes. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
Mr. Philippe.
I just think, I mean, I think we all wish more people would vote in these things. I think, but like, I think it's not just Lake Forest. Like nobody,
But it's
even
a
in
Lake
like a
Forest
town like
podcast.
Evanston, which is the most political town in the world, they still have massive drop-offs when it's not the big time election. So
Well, for 8%,
it's a condemnation of the
Evanston?
human condition not to care more about what's on their big TV on CBS Evening News than to care about what's going on at their town hall. Even though the town
You're
hall's
being
more
generous saying CBS Evening News. I don't think people even watch that anymore.
Yeah.
It's
So
more of
I think
Fox or
it's okay.
MSNBC.
It's okay to call people out, Pete. I don't, maybe you're being a little dick. I don't think that's a big deal, but like, it's okay to call people out. But it's
Did you
also
say
like,
that a
it's,
little dick. What?
I
Goes Philippe for the
you caught
record.
that? Darn, I thought I snuck that one in. That's getting the
Pete
edited
did
out.
We will test my editing skills. Will he catch that?
Anyway, yeah, whatever. It's just reality, unfortunately. There's a real opportunity for somebody who can really figure out how to turn out people for the local vote. If you could do that, you can change the world. You can change a lot of places. So,
But why? Why aren't more people coming out? Why don't more people care? They just wait till they have an issue that affects them, then they suddenly care. That's
Yes,
how it works.
yes.
Okay, all right,
And,
fine.
and
what
like
else
Philippe
is there?
just said, there are so many people. You stop 10 random people in a grocery store in Lake Forest
Ugh.
and ask them who the president of the United States is, and then ask them who their alderman is. Okay? They know who the president is. They know what's going on in Washington, but they don't know what's going on in their own backyard. And like I said, fortunately, we live in a community that is well run, and so there isn't this burning desire. Most people have chosen to live here. This is a destination community, so they're very happy because they came from communities that weren't as nice.
All right, second to last. I swear to God, Urso. Is there a Nick Shirley in Lake Forest or the 10th district to kind of look in and see, do we have problems here? Like I don't have time to do it. You guys don't have the time to do it. And if somebody had the time to do it, do you think we got the same issues as they had?
Like a YouTube? You're asking if there's a YouTuber?
I'm just talking about somebody that looks at the federal dollars that went out for childcare, hospice, and all that stuff in the 10th district. Because there's only like 30 companies that I saw that were getting.
Listen, that's what this guy should be doing. That's what the congressman, you're running against Schneider. He should have all those numbers ready, saying, here, they wasted 3.2 million and this went to this to this. You want to beat somebody, just come up with all that, lay the facts out. And I think that's the auditor should be in office. Are you saying, the guy that's working a 9 to 5, he's not going to go home and audit a bunch of stuff unless
I'm very confident there's a ton of fraud in Illinois. There's no Fox watching the hen house.
But I'm saying 10th district. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I would think that there probably is. Illinois' Health and Human Services, they do state block grants. And Illinois has a priority for early childhood education. So if I was a Nick Shirley in Illinois, I would be looking to see how the early childhood education, because that's where all the money in Illinois is going to.
So of course, Brad Schneider looked at all that, right?
I doubt seriously that he's looked at it at all.
All right,
but these are all whipped votes. That's why no one cares about stuff like that. I mean, it's all. Whatever team they're on, you already know how they're going to vote on 99%. Other than what's his name? Fedman? What's that guy?
Fetterman, my guy, my brother, my
there's people on who are willing to buck the trend against a party.
But it's not
Joe Manchin.
Bob Dole, a guy I used to work for, was like the uber moderate man. I mean, he would never introduce a bill unless he had a Democrat to introduce him with him. And the 10th district used to want to have exceptional kind of like independent minded people. Now because of the era of Trump, they've decided that they want just another.
See, that's why I'm the opposite. I hate federal politics. I love local stuff because I think local matters so much.
Yeah,
it affects your everyday life.
Back to my analogy of who knows who the president is versus their alderman. Their alderman has more power over their daily life than
that lady who did the parking presentation was awesome. I don't know much about her, but I was really impressed by her presentation. She was a nice presentation. Definitely done a lot of work on this thing.
And obviously they listen to people, not just Jeff, but a lot of other business owners. So I think we'll see how it goes.
I will say this about Lake Forest. They always make time to sit and listen to people, whether it's a resident or a business owner. And I've had that experience for a long time with Lake Forest. They care. I mean, they care. I've been in other towns where I've been like, some things I deal with the county. It's like it's like going to Walmart and asking for help. I mean, it is like go over to the county. They couldn't care less about stuff. But the Lake Forest, always someone is on top of it. Always someone cares. I mean, it's awesome.
I'm looking behind you, Jeff, and you've gone from the beginning of the show being in downtown Chicago to driving through Knollwood, it looks
We're
like.
in Knollwood, buddy.
Yeah, baby.
Here's the best part. You two are afraid of both places. You guys won't go downtown or
I go to Knollwood all the time.
I'll tell you guys about it, yeah.
I love Luke's. Luke's is great. Just like Left Bank. Luke's and Left Bank are great places for lunch.
All right, boys. Thank you for giving me a reason for living. Everybody have a great Saturday morning.
All right, boys. Take care. Bye.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Broker Michelle Pardo has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, JM, and Paul G.